Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
You know, I have a joke, Glenn. You know, these Chuck Norris facts that are circulating throughout the world.
I don't know.
One of the Chuck Norris, do you ever heard of them?
No. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I hear
Anyway,
your tears cure cancer. Too bad you don't cry.
No. Listen, Chuck, America's not a democracy. It's a Chuck-tatorship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that was true, I would go to Washington. I'd line up every member of Congress. And I have Ron Paul, who I believe is one of the more honest men in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I say, Ron, point out the honest politicians and the dishonest politicians.
I don't know that.
And as we're walking down the line,
yeah.
He say, he's honest. Now, he's dishonest. I'd walk up to him and I'd say, you're fired. And if he didn't move immediately, I'd choke him unconscious and drag him over to the pile.
Okay, all right. Chuck Norris, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you again.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. You're fired, Chuck Norris says as he drags people out of Congress that Ron Paul says are untrustworthy. I mentioned it yesterday, so I couldn't not play it today, right? It was funny how he's threw in the "you're fired," though. Just like the good old Don. Welcome back, everybody, all of you censored commoners. This is Common Censored, and I'm Lord Sterling. Thanks for joining us today for episode 115 on Hump Day. Yeah, it's the 3rd anniversary of 100 Hump Wednesday, where our episode 100 lined up with Hump Day. Was glorious. And we all survived that. So thanks for being back with us today, everybody. We broadcast live Monday through Friday at 6:30-ish Eastern. Thanks for the wait, for waiting. Sorry for the delay today while I scrambled to make sure everything was up and running. Thanks for being here. Make sure to use hashtag Common Censored when you share the show on X, where you can find us at _Common Censored. You can also find Truckfit Dre over there at Truckfit LLC. That's TRUKFYT LLC. And you can find me at Mortis _Knock2. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. And don't listen to Mama Mac down there saying think for authority and question yourself. We know better than that. What's up, everybody in the chat? Melly Milan, JJ Von Pepe, Alicia Savage, Mama Mac, Crazy B. Thanks, everybody, for being here. That old sheepdog, I see you over there, too. And thanks to the people watching on X and YouTube as well. Make sure to think for yourself and question authority as we continue jettisoning through the quickening and the awakening, the great awakening on this clown world that we all live on. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff today as usual. But first, let's start off with Threeper's quote of the day. This is from, let's see over here, from Charles Percy Snow. When you think of the long and gloomy history of man, you will find more hideous crimes have been committed in the name of obedience than have ever been committed in the name of rebellion. Damn, that's a good one. 3perp, thanks for sharing that. And it's probably true, because it's the atrocities that lead to the rebellion which ends it all. Yes. Awesome. All right, let's get into the stuff. We'll start off with Fleckus Talks. On their episode yesterday, they played the clip of Judge Napolitano talking about how he had asked Trump about the JFK stuff. And I hadn't known that had happened, so when we heard it referenced yesterday, I didn't know what was going on exactly, but we have the actual clip over here with Fleckus. So let's check it out and see what he says.
All right, next clip. Trump JFK docs. So Judge Napolitano was talking to Trump, and he said, hey, you kind of let me down. What happened to fully releasing the JFK docs? And look what Trump told him.
I said, how you doing? He said, not too well. And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept. What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, you promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination. He said to me, Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either. And I said, who's they and what did they show you? And then he said, Judge, someday when we're on the phone, and then he raised his voice, and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call, back to a normal voice, I'll tell you.
Oh, my God.
So makes you wonder what Trump saw, what documents were revealed to him that showed him what really happened with JFK. It makes you wonder if the Jackie O with the sleeve gun at point blank range. Sleeve gun at point blank range? I haven't even heard this. I didn't even know this was a schizo thing.
Yeah. Never underestimate Fleckus. He will always come up with the craziest theory. Of course, you guys know I think it was the badge man from the Mary Mormon photograph. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. This dude over here, if you take the Mary Mormon photograph and you zoom in right here, super, super close, you'll find this fuzzy little grainy spot, which just so happens to look like a dude wearing a police badge, firing a rifle, and you see the muzzle flash, and you see his hairline, and you see his brow, and the shadows where his eyes are, his ear sticking out in the sun over here. And right next to him, there's a dude that looks like he's got a hard hat on. This guy's dressed like a policeman. This guy's dressed like a construction worker. We got the whole village people over here killing JFK. This photograph was taken 1/10 of a second before the fatal headshot connected, knocking his head backwards from the front and the right. And this photo was taken by Mary Mormon. And that's what it shows. And the documentary, The Men Who Killed Kennedy, narrowed it down, they believe, to a shooter named Lucien Sarty, French hitman, interestingly enough, who ended up being found dead a few years later in Mexico City, I believe. So it probably wasn't Jackie O with the sleeve gun. And I've seen the whole thing about the driver too, and I did a frame-by-frame analysis, and I disagree with that analysis as well. But pretty interesting. I wonder what they showed Trump. It kind of reminds me of the video of Jesse Ventura talking about how,
I bet when you win the presidency, they take you downstairs into the CIA building in the basement, and they show you a video
of the JFK assassination, but it's from a different angle, from a different angle that the public hasn't seen. And it's, it's like a FBI guy or a CIA guy with a blowing off the the smoke from the barrel. And they're like, you understand? It's like, yes, I will comply. The new president gets put in place by the CIA. Wouldn't surprise me. We got another interesting clip from this episode, though, yesterday from Fleckus. Let's jump ahead to 3220, where they talk about an interesting study about the amount of plastic that people ingest on a weekly basis, which sounds pretty gross. And yeah, it's pretty gross.
All right. Last page of housekeeping. Speaking of eating the bugs, apparently humans, us Americans, are eating a credit card worth of plastic every week.
Yeah, we consume up to a credit card's worth of plastic every week.
That's rugged.
And it's fucking everyone up. New studies are linking them to infertility, cognitive dysfunction, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and so much more. Take the plastic out of your life.
Yeah. So obviously that's not ideal.
I don't think we have a choice. I don't think anybody's choosing to eat. Oh, I'll eat my credit card this week
Fleckus
now.
has the answer, though, of course.
I just eat my credit card at the beginning of the week and get it over with.
Yeah, I'm done.
It's the same with spiders. You eat 8 spiders in a year. I just eat them all January 1st.
I know. And then all of a sudden they'll leave you alone.
They know this guy's good. He already ate 8.
What's up, dude? Sam Duty.
But
I
obviously,
see you.
here on the show, we're more aware
duck.
of what's going on health-wise and how much we're being poisoned, and everything you eat is poison. And even when you think you're being healthy and eating a salad, it's still full of poison.
Yeah.
So there's no plastic in grass-fed steak from a local farm.
Okay.
There's no
Steak
plastic
diet,
in cow
boys.
guts either.
Okay.
So it's something to kind of keep in mind. Maybe it could be a good time for show watchers just to start eating steak only until we
until we figure out what's going on. Steak only. So that's the Fleckus suggestion. Of course, we're not giving medical or dietary advice. Let's jump over to our next story. We got big news coming out of Georgia. The Georgia judge allows Trump to appeal the Fani Willis disqualification. So that's good. Christina Layla, writing over here at Gateway Pundit. Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee on Wednesday announced President Trump and his co-defendants can appeal the Fani Willis disqualification decision. Judge Scott McAfee last Friday ruled District Attorney Fani Willis can continue the RICO case, as we all knew. He split the baby. They just had to get rid of one half. Imagine 2 people committing a crime, or having a conflict of interest, and they only get rid of one of them. Just the mere appearance of the conflict of interest in the first place proves that neither of them can be trusted. Got to get rid of both of them. Got to just throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, not just half of it. In his 23-page decision, he basically said that, Willis just had to get rid of Nathan Wade, as we know. But continuing, Friday, he resigned. Where does the next bit of news here? Georgia Court of Appeals has 45 days to decide on any appeal. Trump's lawyer, Steve Sadow, called this decision by McAfee highly significant that they're allowed to appeal. The defense is optimistic that appellate review will lead to the case being dismissed and the DA being disqualified and hopefully disbarred. Nothing less is satisfactory. Fox News reported a Georgia judge presiding over the 2020 interference case against former President Trump announced Wednesday on Hump Day that Trump and his co-defendants can appeal the order that denied the disqualification of the embattled DA Fani Willis. Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee on Wednesday issued a certificate of immediate review, allowing Trump and 8 co-defendants to seek an appeal of the order. The defense now has 10 days to submit an application to the Georgia Court of Appeals, which will have 45 days to decide whether they will hear the case from March 15th, when the order was issued. Under Georgia law, the Georgia Court of Appeals is not required to hear the case. Quote, upon review of the defendant's joint motion for a certificate of immediate review, the court finds that the order on the defendant's motions to dismiss and disqualify the Fulton County District Attorney issued March 15th, 2024, quote, is of such importance to the case that immediate review should be had, McAfee said. So that's good news moving forward with the appeal. Appeal approved down in Georgia. Big Fanny, you've got some splaining to do. And you're probably going to get booted. Big boot on the fanny. Metaphorically speaking, of course, FBI is asshole. Let's listen to this. Some of this clip that Jones posted yesterday. The truth about the Russia-NATO war in 8 minutes. Everybody knows what's going on, but we got to just keep pounding this into the infosphere. Make sure that everybody is aware of the details.
What is your view of Vladimir Putin?
Well, I think he's very smart, very tough, and I think he says what he means. In 2007, he said, "Don't do this," at the Munich Security Conference famously. He said, "All right, you went violating what I know to be true, by the way, which was not an inch eastward for NATO, promised by James Baker III and by Hans-Dietrich Genscher to Gorbachev in 1990. I know that's for sure the case. The United States expanded NATO to Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic in the Clinton period, and then to 7 more countries in 2004. Latvia,
Poking the bear the whole
Estonia,
time.
Slovakia, Slovenia, Romania, and Bulgaria. And then in 2007, Putin said, "Stop. All right, stop. No more, not to Ukraine." So what does George W. do in 2008 in Bucharest? Of course, what does he do? He says, "Guarantee Ukraine and Georgia." And, this
The West
is
never had
promised in
any
playbook
intention
from,
of peace.
1853. So we're going to surround Russia in the Black Sea again. Exactly that.
Okay, but I don't
why?
interrupt. But just to interrupt though, I just asked you what your view of Putin is, and so far you've just said he's smart and tough.
I told you he warned us very
negatives?
clearly.
Any negatives, Professor?
Piers Morgan's such a dumbass.
I believe that the
He's like a broken
big
clock.
mistake of both sides is we should talk this out. And now let me say a word about talking it out. In 2008, when Bucharest happened, European leaders called me, because I'm friends with them. They said, "What is your crazy president doing?" By the way, some who are in power right now, I won't name names. What is your president doing? Why is he destabilizing things? He promised he wasn't going to push Ukraine. That's what European leaders say in private. They don't say it
That's
in
what I was
public.
saying yesterday.
We avoided the
Mama Mac.
negotiations. Then 2014 came. Sadly, Piers, I saw it. I saw some of it firsthand. It was ugly. The United States should not be funding overthrows of governments.
Philip
We
Panchard,
did. I know
thanks
it.
for joining
Okay.
us.
So I happened to be there soon afterwards with the hand-picked government.
That is definitely true.
Handpicked by Victoria Nuland. We didn't talk then. Then came the Minsk agreements. And then the United States said privately, even though the UN Security Council has backed both Minsk 1 and Minsk 2, you don't have to do this. And so with Poroshenko, don't worry
So
about
ridiculous.
it. Then we heard, of course, Chancellor Merkel say
And they act like
afterwards,
Russia has
"Yeah,
no
we
reason to
weren't
be
taking
mad
it
about
too
anything."
seriously, even though Germany and France were the guarantors of that. Then on December 15th, 2021, Putin put it down in a draft U.S.-Russia security agreement. I read it. I called the White House. I said, "You know what? You can negotiate on this basis. Avoid the war." No, there's going to be no war, Mr. Sachs. I said, just tell them that NATO is not going to enlarge. You'll avoid the war. No, we're never going to say that. We have an open door policy. So what kind of open door policy? We've had 200 years of the Monroe Doctrine, some open door policy. No, Mr. Sachs. Then the war breaks out. Then immediately Zelensky says, okay, we can be neutral. We can be neutral. And negotiations start. As you know, Naftali Bennett, informally the Prime Minister of Israel, and Turkey with its very skilled diplomacy. I actually flew to Ankara to discuss with the Turkish diplomats what was going on. The U.S. stopped the agreement. Why? Because they thought we'll win. We can bleed Russia. Our sanctions, cutting them out of the banking system, we're going to bring them to their knees. It's a bunch of terrible miscalculations is what it is.
Okay.
It's a game.
Listen,
a terrible game.
I hear you. What I'm fascinated by, though, is I've asked you to say what you think of Putin. And so far, like I say, you've only called him tough and smart. This is a guy that kills his political opponents.
Yeah, he's tough.
This is a guy
and he's smart. He got rid of him.
This is a guy who rules his country like a gangster. It's like, I'm struggling to understand why you can't find any negative.
Are you saying no gangster's ever been tough and smart? Piers Morgan? Just saying.
For the guy.
Fucking idiot.
He's a dictator.
Because I'm trying to
This is a
find
chuck-tator
peace,
shit.
and you don't do it the way that Biden does. Biden said, okay, he's a thug. Biden says he's a crazy SOB. That's real good, Joe. That's really getting us to where we want to go. That's hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians dead.
I want them to
Why don't
stop
we move
dying.
beyond the
Professor,
name
can
calling
you not find anything negative to say about Vladimir Putin?
Can you not find anything positive?
I don't think that what I
Piers
say
Morgan?
about Putin negative
These are
has
such
anything to do with
garbage
anything.
questions.
What I'm saying is, as I know,
You were ready to call him smart.
Fluster
You're ready to call him smart and tough. I'm like,
That's all.
okay.
And
that's,
in
you can call him smart and tough, but you can't find anything bad to say about
I wrote
the
a
guy.
book about the Cuban Missile Crisis and its aftermath. Kennedy didn't go name-calling Khrushchev. He tried to save the world, to stop the war. Afterwards, he didn't insult Khrushchev. What he did was sat down with him and negotiated the partial nuclear test ban treaty. We're not in a game. We're not in name-calling. We're not in a cage brawl. We're trying to actually not have the world spiral into nuclear war.
Right. We got to
So
work
it's
with
not
each
that
other. We got to
game.
figure
The
out
game
how to
is
work
sit
with each
down
other.
and negotiate.
Don't just poke and prod and name call. Piers Morgan knows exactly what he's doing. That guy's an infiltrator, probably MI6. 100% a douchebag. Right, Threeper? Oh, man. So annoying. So, we just got to keep pushing back against the narrative, trying to divide the U.S. and Russia, trying to paint Putin and Russia as irredeemable monsters, prevent the war. We want everybody to stop dying. Let's see. What do we got next? Oh, this is an interesting story here. Executive director of the Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport in Arkansas shot in the head by federal agents after allegedly opening fire. What in the f is going on here? Brian Malinowski, the executive director of the Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport, this is Jim Hoft writing, was shot in the head by federal agents on Tuesday following a firefight at his residence in West Little Rock. Early Tuesday morning around 6 a.m., Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, who do the exact opposite of what they should be doing, they're restricting all that stuff when they should be giving it all to us and encouraging it. ATF agents arrived at the 53-year-old's home to serve a warrant when they were met with gunfire from within the house, Daily Mail reported. Arkansas State Police have confirmed that Malinowski was the individual who fired on the agents, prompting them to return fire. The specifics of the warrant and the reasons behind the ATF's involvement at Malinowski's residence are still under wraps, as authorities have refrained from commenting further due to the ongoing investigation. Despite being critically injured, Malinowski received immediate medical attention on the scene before being transported to a local hospital. His current condition remains undisclosed as of Hump Day. However, a source close to the situation disclosed to the Arkansas Times that Malinowski had been shot in the head during the shootout and has been placed on life support. Today's incident saddens us, quoting the airport Commissioner Chairman Bill Walker Commission, and we pray for everyone involved. As the chairman of the Little Rock Municipal Airport Commission, I have named Tom Clark, the airport's deputy executive director, as acting executive director. The airport's day-to-day operations continue as normal. What the hell happened there? In Little Rock, nonetheless. Probably just a coincidence, and it has nothing to do with the Clintons, but that's right, Fluster Cluck. That's right. But Clinton body count +1. Just maybe we're tying up loose ends. I don't know. I have no reason to suspect that Hillary Clinton was involved with this, but were those police? Was one of them a short blonde woman with a black mustache taped to her face? Just saying. I don't know. Let's jump over to our next story. Hop over to a different article over at the Gateway Pundit with Jim Hoft writing Elon Musk says the FBI portal on Twitter, quote, auto-deleted all communications after 2 weeks to likely hide, I would have gone with likely to hide the government's involvement in censoring speech. It was a crime, right? When Nancy Pelosi ripped up the State of the Union speech. Isn't it a crime to destroy documents or things created by the federal government? Wouldn't it be a crime to auto-delete all communications between the FBI and Twitter? Just saying, isn't that auto-deleting like felonious in nature? At what point do we stop and ask ourselves if Chris Wray's FBI is really on the side of the American people? Years ago. That's at what point? That's what I am trying to figure out. Oh God, I see farticles in the chat. Brutal, Sam Duty. We don't want no farticles up in this bitch. Ex-owner Elon Musk told Texas Lindsay in an interview this week that FBI had a Twitter portal that deleted all communications after 2 weeks to hide its nefarious requests. Nefarious, that's the same word that George Washington used to describe the articles and doctrines of the Illuminati in 1798. The letter that we read from the Library of Congress recently, at least part of it we read. But this, I don't know if it's this exact portal, but one of these Twitter backdoor portals to the feds, I think there was probably a variety of methods that they used, was exposed by Dr. Shiva Ayadurai in his lawsuit against Twitter a few years ago. They found out in discovery that there was an FBI backdoor to Twitter. He informed Elon Musk about it, and Elon Musk never mentioned it again, basically. So this may be the first time that he's openly referencing this FBI backdoor. I'm not positive if this is the exact one, like I mentioned, that Dr. Shiva discovered in Discovery, but very interesting nonetheless. The portal would auto-delete all communications after 2 weeks to hide its nefarious requests. That way, FOIA requests would turn up nothing on their communications after 2 weeks. This is definitely criminal in nature. Elon Musk, I think that there's a clip of it. Let's check this out.
You know, there was, and this is coming from multiple parts of the government, from the State Department,
Ed
the FBI,
Hoskins, what's up, buddy?
Homeland Security, from really many
Not
parts
yet,
of the government. It wasn't just one arm of the government. There was this FBI portal that auto-deleted all communications after 2 weeks. So we actually don't know what was said there. In fact, that does strike me as a FOIA violation, Freedom of Information Act violation, because you shouldn't be able to auto-delete things after 2 weeks.
Yeah, criminal. We got to pause for a sec to read the Mucky Duck's particle joke. Question: what did the physicist call his newly purchased bathroom exhaust fan made out of glass? Answer: a nuclear farticle accelerator. That's fucking brilliant, dude. That's fucking sweet. Good one. Thanks for sharing.
There's a little-known agency in the State Department called the Global Engagement Center, which most people have never heard of, but they might have been the single worst offender, because they demanded the suspension of at one point over 250,000 accounts, which I think all Twitter largely complied with. But they did the suspension demands were so broad that they accidentally demanded a suspension of a journalist on CNN and an elected Canadian politician. It was just an incredibly broad swath.
Damn. So yeah, pretty insane. And look at this, right below the clip, they're actually mentioning what I was just referencing. In July 2021, the Gateway pundit reported that Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, the man who invented email, has discovered Twitter's partner support portal. You guys probably know Dr. Shiva if you're on this channel. I like him a lot. I think he's super, super smart. When he announced his presidential campaign, one of the main things that he was showing in his slide presentation that he was given was the way that the trajectory of the average lifespan of Americans and across the world have been going up, going up, going up. But then recently, the lifespan of Americans started tanking. And he's got a lot of good solutions for that. The problem with Dr. Shiva is that he gets really angry really quickly. And he's just a very abrasive individual, it seems. And so nobody wants to work with him, it seems like. But he's probably the smartest guy in the room. And he's got like an outrageous number of degrees and is really, really smart. I don't know if he's really ever been in a room with somebody who's smarter than him. But pure intelligence doesn't necessarily make a great leader. The way he gets angry, I'd be worried if he was president that he might like fly off the handle and do something crazy. But, I think he should be put in a position of power, though, in like a cabinet position or something. We need his type of intelligence. Anyway, Dr. Shiva discovered that Twitter built a special portal offered to certain governmental entities so that government officials can flag and delete content they dislike for any reason as part of what they call their Twitter partner status. Shiva ran for U.S. Senate in Massachusetts. You remember that, running against Elizabeth Warren? He had the big bus that said only the real Indian can defeat the fake Indian. Let me see if I can find a picture of this. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Shiva. Only a real Indian can defeat the fake Indian. Come on. Whether or not you like Dr. Shiva, that's fucking good right there, right? Isn't that hilarious? Come on. That's so funny. So he had made allegations of fraud on Twitter. The tweets were deleted by the far left tech giant. Later has discovered they were deleted at the direction of the government employees of the Massachusetts Secretary of State's office. So I think that he may have uncovered that in court, that it wasn't just the feds that were colluding with social media. Obviously, with the Twitter files, we learned that it was, all over the place, that state governments and officials were sending all kinds of requests to have things deleted or suppressed. So Shiva revealed how election officials and government actors worked together to coordinate it. And then a year later, Twitter files came out after Shiva's explosive report revealing the details. Oh, for some reason that link isn't working now, unfortunately. But yeah, so now we've learned that the FBI had it set to auto-delete their messages with X, or with Twitter at the time, after 2 weeks, which is fucking bullshit, hiding the evidence of their corruption and their violation of American citizens' rights. It needs to be investigated to see who is involved with making that happen, and everybody involved needs to be thrown in a volcano after due process. FBI's asshole, fuck you. Let's move on to our next story. This was an interesting one from the chat yesterday. Tennessee signs a bill prohibiting the use of aerosols designed to manipulate and change the weather. Our chatter eloquently points out they wouldn't need this legislation for this if it were a mere conspiracy theory. Yeah, so Senate Bill 2691, House Bill 2063, whereas it is documented that the federal government or other entities acting on the federal government's behalf or at the federal government's request may conduct geoengineering experiments by intentionally dispersing chemicals into the atmosphere, aka stratospheric aerosol injections, SAI. You can look up the patents for those. And those activities may occur within the state of Tennessee, whereas the risk to human health and environmental welfare from broad-scale geoengineering is not currently well understood, but you can watch the documentary, What in the World Are They Spraying? And then the follow-up, Where in the World Are They Spraying? By G. Edward Griffin and co., revealing that there are concerning levels of chemicals such as aluminum dioxide and barium sulfate all over the planet, even in places where there's no industrial activity, because they're spraying this crap up in the atmosphere, allegedly, and it's coming down all over the place, causing all kinds of neurological problems in humans. We know aluminum is allegedly associated with Alzheimer's and things like that. Who knows what the ramifications of all of this are? Whereas the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation is responsible for monitoring air, soil, and water quality and regulating industrial and agricultural emissions into the air, soil, and water within the state of Tennessee to ensure the safety of the public while not impeding agriculture or commerce within the state. Whereas it is the intent of this General Assembly to protect the public health and welfare of Tennesseans while allowing all authorized activities permitted under state law be it enacted by the General Assembly of the state of Tennessee. General Assembly, Stryker. The intentional injection, release, or dispersion by any means of chemicals, chemical compounds, substances, or apparatus within the borders of the state into the atmosphere with the express purpose of affecting temperature, weather, or the intensity of the sunlight is prohibited. They're trying to take away our sunlight. It's pure evil. 100% evil. So yeah, they're making moves to ban stratospheric aerosol injection in Tennessee. Spread the word. Support the effort. Make it happen. Apparently, actually, maybe they signed it already. Tennessee signs bill. But the problem with this is that these stratospheric aerosol injections, they don't know borders. You know, they're not like, oh, you put me up in the clouds and we're going to stop at the border of Tennessee. Nope, they spray they fly all over the place. So the only way that Tennessee's not going to be affected by this is if the federal government and all the states don't do it. And so this is where private property laws come into effect. Contaminating people with aluminum dioxide and barium sulfate, etc., is a violation of the private property owner's rights in all throughout, every state, basically. So there needs to be mass class action lawsuits against whoever's doing this to prevent it from happening. Private property is a good venue to intervene, I think, legally speaking. Dr. Ron Paul used to talk about using private property laws to combat environmental pollution and things like that. So it's a good direction we could go. Thanks for sharing that, though. That's a really interesting story. Glad to see that happening. Let's check out another video. Briefly, we're going back to the whole bloodbath concept before we get to the Bobulinski bloodbath in Congress today. The Bobulinski bombshell bloodbath. Jones over here posting a special report, The Real Bloodbath. Trump actually used the word to describe outsourcing of American jobs. But Democrats and CIA media twisted the meaning into a fantastical nightmare of a bloodthirsty insurrection. Let's learn what the actual bloodbath is all about. The real bloodbath we got to worry about.
We have met men that have wristbands and their number is in the 19,000 before they can go in and sleep in that shelter. Mayor Adams, he put out an announcement saying that after These men have been in this shelter. 30 days is their limit. After 30 days, they will no longer be able to be housed. They will be put out on the streets, homeless.
Quote, bloodbath. Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36.
I feel you, Threeper. Just so that they can't paint us as J6-styled insurrectionists. That's pretty much the only reason. I mean, you know, the Constitution is no longer in effect. We are living in a lawless society. So we can't just, you know, keep playing by the rules forever and expect to win when the enemies aren't following the rules. Kind of like how George Washington authorized Lord Sterling, Major General Lord Sterling, to use terror tactics against the British during the Revolutionary War. But for now, we gotta keep following all the rules for sure. Let's continue here. But good question. Good question.
6 individual U.S. states.
Bloodbath. If there's no one ever there, then how are you ever supposed to get any help?
It says, quote,
the 3%
this station is currently closed. Use the blue box to dial 911.
A Biden bloodbath?
The wheels came off the New World Order globalist system a long time ago, but man, they're only doubling, tripling, quadrupling, quintupling down in an attempt to herd us back into control. And we have an incredible example of this about Trump and a bloodbath comment. So I went to the comment, and that's a classic corporate term about it's going to be a bloodbath for a company. And he said, if the Chinese try to ship their cars made in Mexico into the U.S., I'll put a 100% tariff
that'd
on
be
it.
legendary.
It'll be a bloodbath for the company.
34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country, think of it, went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it.
So I see the chat talking about sword fighting, but what if it's what if it's this type of sword? You guys remember the sword pistol from that Romeo and Juliet movie? It's called the sword. Or they have the dagger also. Dumbass movie, but see the dagger. What about that kind of sword play?
It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories.
That's a term Trump uses. That's a Trump they also use a lot in the stock market. When a stock plunges, is bloodbath. And so they took the clip out, 2-3 second clips all over the corporate media everywhere.
Michael Beschloss, I want to ask you about Donald Trump increasingly sounding like a fascist, a dictator, mimicking them, and using words that are clearly out of the pages of some of the most powerful autocrats or dictators of our time in the world.
Clown show.
Absolutely. And
it's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That will be the least of it.
What I heard was a continuation of the same rhetoric, the same endorsement of political violence that we've seen from Donald Trump. This is the same guy who, after Nazis marched on Charlottesville and killed a woman, said there were very fine people on both sides.
You know, Senator Sanders likes to say he'll need a record turnout to defeat Donald Trump. He's right.
Sanders attacked Biden at a Michigan rally on Saturday, hours after Biden had warned against a primary bloodbath involving the U.S. Vermont senator and self-described Democratic socialist.
He's even predicting a bloodbath. What does that mean? He's going to exact a bloodbath? There's something wrong here. Praising Hitler, praising the Russians.
This is what they do. It's like I go, this is my neighbors. Boom, 1 million views.
Skip ahead.
He put out just a graphic with a cut down quote of "I'll eat your leftist ass."
You know, we're doing live TV.
Oh, whatever. You guys get the point. But the Dictators, JJ Von Pepe, that reminded me of this rap song.
Thought we'd never make it, but here we are.
The name is A, and I'm back in command, cause I'm the illest Führer representing Deutschland. Reich 1, Reich 2, Reich 3, that's me, the mastermind behind World War III. No
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, so today we had the Bobulinski hearing in the House. And over here on Breitbart, they had the link to watch live, but there was all kinds of fun stuff happening. Bobulinski, the man, that guy's funny, man. And I'm glad that he's speaking out against these scumbags. Remember when Donald Trump brought him to the debate back in 2020? Hilarious. Boom! Jamie Durag Raskin fumes after Hunter Biden's business partner attacks Democrats, Raskin and Goldman, for lying on behalf of the Biden family. Let's check out the video of this. We'll go through, play a few clips from the hearing today.
You knew how fragile America's power
We got some AOC action too.
Susceptible to cyber attacks and such.
And Bobulinski calling out Ro Khanna.
You could chip in $5, $10, or even $25.
And I forgot to go through the list of various stories at the beginning of the episode today. I've been trying to do that lately. All right, let's check it out.
Preaching this mantra, no better. They continue to lie directly to the American people without hesitation and remorse. Rep. Dan Goldman and Jamie
Mucky
Raskin,
Duck. I know about sword fighting.
and Mr. Goldman, a former prosecutor
Do you know about
with the
docking,
SDNY
though?
from New York, will continue to lie today in this hearing and then go straight to the media to tell more lies. Hunter Biden's defense attorney, Abby Lowell, weaponizes letters to Congress to try to smear my name
Mr.
and
Chairman.
misstate the cold hard facts
Mr. Chairman.
in an attempt to save his powerfully connected client and his father. I challenge Mr. Lowell to make those claims on national television so he can be held accountable for his lies. Prior to my successful business career, I was an officer in the United States Navy. At Navy's Elite Naval Nuclear Power Training Command, I later served as the command's chief technology officer.
Proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the...
Okay. Am I supposed to say it's my time, Mr. Raskin?
Yeah. But please, Mr. Bobulinski, please.
Okay.
Bobulinski's the man. It's like, fuck you,
Mr. Bobulinski,
Jamie
Mr.
Raskin.
Bobulinski, please proceed. Please proceed. I apologize for the disruption from the minority.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Chairman, save his time, but he called members of this committee liars, and I just want to know whether the order and decorum requirements of House Rule 11 apply to witnesses
it's going to
appearing
be an
before the committee.
electoral bloodbath.
Does it apply or does it not?
Should I address? I don't.
There's decorum from the members. We've asked for that. There's no language that I'm aware of pertaining to a witness.
Thank you.
So don't make sure we didn't waste any of his time on the opening statement. Mr. Bobulinski, I'm sorry for the disruption. Please continue your opening statement.
I think you, Mr. Raskin, used.
We'll make sure it's right. We'll make sure
Okay, great. I just want to restate, make sure the American people hear all these facts. Abby Lowell.
So annoying, man. Jamie Raskin is such a loser. Such a loser. Let's check out some of this AOC stuff. She went off about a whole bunch of nonsense. Watch Hunter's ex-business partner, Tony Bobulinski. Also, his name is hilarious. Really cool name. Turns the tables and humiliates AOC after she asks a gotcha question regarding Joe Biden. She's getting all animated and going crazy over here. AOC had a meltdown in the House of Representatives after Hunter Biden's former business partner, Tony Bobulinski, turned the tables on her, providing comedic relief to the proceedings. House Oversight Committee is holding its second hearing today as part of the impeachment inquiry into White House occupant. I like how they call him the occupant, Joe Biden. Raskin caught on camera pouting like a baby while Bobulinski read him and Goldman the riot act on behalf for lying. AOC fared no better after trying to take Bobulinski on. New York Congresswoman started by asking Bobulinski a gotcha question regarding the crimes he saw Joe Biden commit and tried to cut him off at various points. Her sole purpose was to humiliate him. Let's see. We got that version of the video, and we got a YouTube version over here. I'll pull up the YouTube version. Pretty funny. She's such a loser, man. from Memology 101 posting this video.
Mr. Bobulinski, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that
You know what? We're actually going to go back to
President
the Gateway Pundit version because the volume is a little bit better on Benny's tweet over here on his post.
Mr. Bobulinski, I heard your opening statement. It's submitted to the record, part of our proceedings. I have a quick question. Simple. Is it your testimony today that you personally witnessed President Joe Biden commit a crime?
There's no cure for being a cunt.
I believe the fact that he was sitting with me while I was putting together a business
Did you
deal-
witness the president commit a crime? Is it your testimony today?
Yes.
And what crime have you witnessed?
How much time do I have to go through it?
It is simple. You name the crime. Did you watch him steal something?
Corruption statutes, RICO and conspiracy.
What is it? What is the crime, sir? Specifically.
Favorite big booty
You
Latina.
asked me to answer the question. I answered the question.
No.
RICO, you're obviously not familiar with. Corruption
Excuse me,
statutes.
sir. Excuse me,
FARA.
sir. Excuse me, sir. RICO is not a crime. It is a
Uh-huh.
It has racketeering in it.
category. What is
It's
the
a category of crimes that you then charge
You
under
have charges.
A long 100
You
list
have
of
charges. Sir,
Want
please
me to name the exact statute
Sir,
under RICO?
yes.
Well, it's funny. In this committee room, everyone's not here. There's over 18
All right, sir. I reclaim my time.
lawyers that
I
went to
reclaim
law
my
school.
time. I
I'll leave
reclaim
it
my
up to
time.
you guys
Okay,
to
thank
define
you,
the
sir. I
statute.
reclaim my time.
Clearly, stamp her on the fucking
What
forehead.
we are seeing here today is a continuation of the 15-month saga of the Republican majority lost in the desert. Impeachment
that's bullshit.
101. The majority party or whomever is raising impeachment must accuse the president of a high crime, a specific
definitely
high
throwing
crime
the
or
bullshit
misdemeanor.
flag.
I would like to submit.
That's total bullshit. A specific high crime or misdemeanor. Actually, it's treason, bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. That's listed in the Constitution. Let me grab the specific spot over here for you guys. Article 2, Section 4. President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So she's over here drawing attention to the high crimes and misdemeanors while completely ignoring treason and bribery stuff. Conveniently ignoring the bribery, which is what we're here about. Biden taking tons of fucking bribes. AOC, get your head out of your ass. I know it's, big or whatever. What did Alex Stein say? My favorite big booty Latina on the steps of Congress. Hilariously. But yeah, don't get too distracted by the high crimes and misdemeanors while we're still talking about treason and bribery as to options for impeaching somebody. Listen to her just lie here. You have to have high crimes and misdemeanors. No. Treason and bribery are also in there.
Crime, a specific high crime must accuse the president of a high crime,
Huss,
a
bro.
specific
What's
high crime
up,
or
dude?
misdemeanor. I would like to submit to the record HRES 918, the House resolution
What's
to open
up?
this impeachment inquiry.
Thanks for joining us.
Without
man.
objection to order.
This resolution does not outline a high crime or misdemeanor.
That's my boy.
It's not here. Now, when we compare the chairman's opening from his previous opening, he's talking about Ukraine and Burisma and all of this. This entire inquiry is based on a blockbuster piece of information that was in a classified SCIF room. And inside that room was a document alleging President Biden directly of a $10 million bribery scheme. A $10 million bribery scheme. Extremely serious.
Well, thanks for
what happened?
confirming
What
that for
happened
us.
a month ago, Mr. Chairman? That document,
Political
the
persecution
FBI
of the
arrested
whistleblower.
the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI.
That's one way of phrasing it. Or you could say they're going after their political enemies with the lawfare like they're doing to Trump, like they did to Flynn, like they did to Roger Stone, like they did to Alex Jones, weaponizing the legal system to suppress and like Flynn said in that interview with Benny, 2 forms of assassination instead of killing people physically like they used to. With our forensics nowadays, we're pretty good at detecting that type of stuff. So they assassinate via narrative and via lawfare. They kill your character. They kill you financially and legally. And so, yeah, that's what happened with the whistleblower there. Oh, he got the number of millions wrong. So they admit a $5 million bribe, but it's like he's like, oh, they took $10 million in bribes. And actually, the government responds by, well, actually, he took $5 million in bribes, and you're arrested. Like, okay, so you're admitting you took bribe money.
This entire impeachment inquiry is based on an actual, provable individual who has lied. Now, responsible leadership would withdraw an inquiry based on that. Withdraw it. Instead, what we are seeing is that this committee was warned about the falsehoods of these allegations long before that, warned by Trump's Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and yet they proceeded anyway. The chairman proceeded anyway. This committee was warned by Rudy Giuliani associate right here, Lev Parnas, after that document about the falsehoods of this. Then held hearings where your own expert witnesses said that there was no grounds for impeachment, and you proceeded anyway. And finally, as if none of this was enough,
right, whiskey peddler.
the FBI arrested the individual who was the source of the entire, to quote the chairman, heart of the matter, to launch this impeachment inquiry, and proceeded anyway. At this point, the story is not the fact that the basis of this impeachment inquiry is wrong.
Ron
the story
PM3
is why
it's
proceeding anyway. Why is this committee
because they said he still took bribe money. Oh, the guy got the number wrong. Yeah, he still took bribes though. That's why it's continuing.
proceeding based on false charges? And by the way, no charges. I have yet to hear in the chairman's opening the allegation that they are specifically charging the president of the United States with.
Oh my God.
I'm hearing about
She's so hyperbolic.
Family. I'm hearing about this and that. I am not hearing the specific allegation by this committee. What is it? It's not here.
It's 20 shell corporations laundering tens of millions of dollars from China and a dozen countries. Have you not been paying attention to all of the stuff that's been coming out for months? We got copies of the checks that transferring between the Biden family family members, laundering money back and forth between each other. Like this check is so disconnected.
Is the problem.
How much are they paying you?
Is when this committee knew that they were working with falsified evidence. That's the story.
Oh man. Oh,
and
thanks,
that,
Blue Rose.
Gentlelady,
yeah, she got hired by Justice Democrats who are searching for people, auditioning people to run for Congress, and she's the one that they hired. She was a bartender / actress who fit the part. I wonder if they're still feeding her lines today.
Yields back.
Unbelievable. So yeah, she's a total clown. Why is this attractive actress / bartender representing Queens? Good question, Philip. And finally, she stopped talking. Sam Duty. Craziness. So fireworks today throughout the whole hearing. Let's check out another clip of Bobulinski roasting Ro Khanna over here.
Donalds, I'd just actually like to spend 20
Byron
seconds.
Donalds.
If you noticed, Congressman Khanna scurried out of here very quickly, and I'm actually disgusted as I sit here that he didn't address me based on the fact that I'm sitting here in front of the world trying to testify to the truth. In October 2020, I have messages I'm willing to produce to both the Democrats and the Republicans that Ro Khanna sent to me saying, you You have always demonstrated to me that you're nothing but an honest, with the highest integrity individual, and I was begging for him to go on CNN and tell the world in October 2020. I have extensive emails with Congressman Ro Khanna in 2021 and 2022 where I begged him and his staff to sit down with me and look at my BlackBerry phones that the Democrats are so focused on, to hire forensics experts and go through all of the factual information I had. So the fact that he
How
did not
often do you
even
get
address me and then
a fact witness, you know, who's like, take my digital materials, scour through them, you know? Like this guy's straight up saying, get the digital forensics guys on this, prove it. Most people wouldn't want to hand over their BlackBerry. Are you kidding me? The fact that he's willing to hand over his BlackBerry alone is evidence to his credibility.
and scurried out of here is disgusting to me.
All right.
Let's shift our focus
Bam!
now to Capitol Hill.
Bam! Let's jump over to it. Since we saw Byron Donalds there for a second, let's jump over to a clip of Byron Donalds breaking down the treason and bribery in those first two parts of of the Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. So, yeah, treason, bribery, but it's too complex for AOC to understand over here. Let's check out Byron Donalds, who ain't scared of nobody. Remember that clip where he's just a badass? He's like walking into a hearing or something, and somebody asks him if he's intimidated by the CIA and FBI messing with people or something like that, and he's like, "It's like, bitch, I'm 6'4". I'm scared of nobody." That's the right
the money
attitude.
flow, because this is where the rubber meets the road. On August 3rd, they actually stipulate through WhatsApp text messages the exact stipulations of the deal. On August 4th, $100,000 is wired into Owasco PC from CEFC infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record a portion of the bank statement for the time period August 3rd of 2017 to August 31, 2017, stipulating $100,000 going from CEFC into the bank account of Hunter Biden through
That's right,
Owasco
Blue Rose.
PC.
Without objection to order.
And I got your video lined
On
up
August
too.
8th, 4 days later, $5 million is then transferred from the Northern International Capital account of $5 million to Hudson West III. Hudson West III is a bank account controlled by Hunter Biden and Mr. Gong Wang, a.k.a. Kevin Dong, who is a CEFC associate. That money comes from the Northern International Capital bank account that is tied to the CCP. Mr. Chairman, I want to submit for the record the bank statement demonstrating that transfer.
Without objection to ordered.
Thanks
Okay,
to
moving on.
66 people watching us live on Rumble. Appreciate you being here. Make sure to smash
On
that like
August
button.
8th, the same time period, there is a wire transfer of $400,000 to Owasco PC from the Hudson West III bank account. That $400,000, Mr. Chairman, I have the transfer records in the bank accounts from the August time period. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
Now here's where the fun stuff comes in, everybody, and I got a minute to do it, so we're going to get this done. On August 14th,
24, that's badass.
there is $150,000 that is transferred from Owasco PC, which is controlled by Hunter Biden, to Lion Hall Group, which is controlled by James Biden. I have the records here, Mr. Chairman, of the $150,000 that has gone to Lion Hall Group from Owasco PC. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
On August 28th, and I believe we have a screenshot for everybody in the room. On August 28th, Mr. Chairman, we have the withdrawal ticket from Lion Hall Group that is signed by Sarah Biden, who is the wife of Jim Biden, for $50,000 to withdraw from Lion Hall Group. I want to submit that withdrawal receipt for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
On September 3rd, on August 28th, actually, Mr. Chairman, we have the deposit reference into Sarah Jones Biden's account on the same day she withdrew it from Lion Hall. I want to submit that for the record.
Without objection to ordered.
Last document. On September 3rd, 2007, from Sarah Biden's own personal account, there is a check that is written to Joseph Robinette Biden, Jr., the President of the United States today, for $40,000, signed loan repayment. A loan repayment, by the way, that Joe Biden's own personal accountant, Mr. Eric Schwerin, has no record for.
Yeah, so you'll often hear me mention that somebody is a diversity hire or whatever. But that's not being racist. plenty of minorities and people of every race are qualified for lots of positions like this, and this is another example of that. This guy is very qualified and does a great job. This is not a diversity election right here. This is a real a real qualified individual whose race is irrelevant.
I want to submit that for the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so ordered.
To the members of the committee, it is clear that the source of this money came from CEFC, and that CEFC is
Beast
a company
mode.
that is directly linked to the CCP and actually the chairman of the CCP, the chairman of the
Hasta la
Chinese
vista,
Communist Party,
baby.
Chairman Xi Jinping. With that, I yield.
A Winnie the Pooh himself.
Now, to the money flow.
Boom. Byron Donald's kicking ass, taking names. Love it. That's right, Ron PM3, character and talent. Boom. Boom. All right, so we will keep paying attention to see if anything else comes out regarding all of that situation, the Bobulinski bombshell bloodbath in Congress today. Hunter Biden skipped it. Hilarious. Of course, he couldn't be there to take any responsibility. So we've got the details of the Biden and Democrat corruption coming out live in front of everybody in the hearing. But meanwhile, we have the Democrats pulling superficial garbage stunts to distract and divert, as we got this bizarre story of Rep. Jared Moskowitz showing up to his office wearing a Hitler Putin mask. His name has Moscow right in it. So, not surprising. In a bizarre stunt, writes Anthony Scott at the Gateway Pundit, Democratic Representative Jared Moskowitz of Florida wore a Putin mask to Capitol Hill. Rep. Moskowitz wore the mask while arriving at the House Oversight Committee's latest hearing regarding Joe Biden's abuse of public office. Moskowitz's stunt was filmed, and in the video, the Democrat lawmaker, while posing as Putin, shared, "I just came to thank..." I forgot a Russian accent. "I just came to thank James Comer for taking all of our intelligence and using it in the committee." I fucked that all up. Fucking hell. Recall that Biden's DOJ alleged the FBI informant recently arrested is, quote, actively peddling new lies that could impact the U.S. elections after meeting with Russian intelligence officials in November. That's right, because anybody who says the truth is just automatically pushing Putin talking points. The FBI's confidential source, Alexander Smirnov, was recently indicted, as we know, for creating a false and fictitious record. He was told that they were paid $10 million in bribes. Ridiculous. Let's check out the video.
Congressman, can you explain what you're wearing? I just came to thank James Comer for taking all of our intelligence and using it in the committee. Maybe he can come see the technology in our grocery stores. Thank you. Congressman, I think it's the neighbor's
You fucking clown, bro. You're the one with Moscow in your name, bro. Come on.
Good eye. That was Moskowitz.
Hilarious. That is a pretty good eye. Pretty impressive that they figured out that it was him underneath the mask. Hilarious. Hilarious. Ooh, is this the link to the whole hearing? Should we jump to a random moment and see what's going on? Yeah, let's check out what's going on here.
Neither of your answers did you mention any discussion that you had at that meeting with Joe Biden about the Chinese business venture. Yet, in grandiose terms here today, you have declared that Joe Biden was involved.
It was a better focus of my time to walk voluntarily into the FBI.
So where did you do that?
I'm going to take this link
in Washington,
and
D.C.
post it for you guys in the chat.
Main
if you want to
Justice,
check it out later.
FBI or the
but everybody's
field
probably
office?
seen it already.
I believe it was the leading
just
field
a rep,
office. They didn't want to do it in Main Justice for some
Sam Duty.
their
Asking
reasons.
the guy
They
in the
decided.
mask.
I would have gone wherever they asked me.
Just
to go.
some lefty
Did
clown.
they tell you at the time that you were providing information that if you provided information that was not true and correct, that you could be held liable for that under
Oh, damn, he had a
criminal
wrist
statute?
full of bracelets?
Yes, of course. I appreciate you asking that question. I was operating
Yeah, good call, Ed. Time to ditch CommuTube. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, we're going to pull the plug. Sorry to flush you down the drain, but here, it's not a hopeless swim against the tide. I will post a link to the Rumble broadcast in the YouTube and Facebook chats. Boom and boom. So you guys can join us over where the water is warm and we all float down in the depths of Rumble, which of course they'll, claim is like a right-wing extremist outpost or something. So we will embrace it. Let's check out, well, I'll tell you what we're covering next so that you'll come join us on Rumble and X. We're going to check out the New York Pizza Party, kind of like the Boston Tea Party, but with New York and with delicious pies. Delicious pies. All right, let's close it out on YouTube. Feel free to come join us on Rumble. If you can't, we understand, and we'll catch you next time. But until then,